Mexico and U.S. agree on sugar deal. After months of negotiations, the United States and Mexico have reached an agreement regarding sugar trading between the two countries, and the reactions of those most affected by the terms of the agreement have varied. Some have argued that the sugar deal would benefit both countries, while others, particularly small business members of the U.S. sugar industry, said that the deal would cause the cost of their raw materials to increase, according to Reuters. Nonetheless, the agreement has been called a significant hurdle cleared by the two countries ahead of more complex discussions regarding the North American Free Trade Agreement between the United States, Mexico, and Canada, which are expected to start in August. The new agreement would reportedly reduce the share of refined sugar that Mexico can send to the U.S. to 30% of total sugar sent. However, U.S. sugar producers said the pact contained a loophole that they predicted would allow Mexico to dump more sugar on the U.S. market or fail to provide raw sugar to refineries, according to Fox Business. Philip Hayes, spokesman for the American Sugar Alliance, indicated that he was concerned about the potentially problematic loophole but was willing to work with the government to find a solution. Rick Pascoe, head of Sweetener Users Association, was less optimistic, saying that the deal would raise the floor price for raw sugar, which would inevitably hurt cereal, beverage and candy makers. He estimated that the price for raw sugar in the U.S. was currently about 80% above prices elsewhere in the world, and the recent trade deal with Mexico would increase it to 100%. If you're a food company looking at long-term investment in the U.S., and you're paying twice the world price, that's got to be a consideration going forward, Pascoe said, noting that roughly 600,000 U.S. jobs depend on sugar-using companies. The association determined that sugar input costs would rise by about $1 billion above government support prices, an increase that could result in a more expensive product for consumers, as companies that opposed the government support for the sugar industry would have to compensate for their rise in production costs. Kirk Vashaw, CEO of Ohio-based Spangler Candy Company, said he was also disappointed in the agreement, as the agreed rise in the minimum price for Mexican sugar was likely to drive up Spangler's raw material cost. "To be honest, I'm just very disappointed that the Trump administration didn't do more to level the playing field, which is something they promised over and over again to do for the American worker," Vashaw told Reuters. Supporters of the deal, however, contended that the agreement helped prevent Mexico from introducing retaliatory tariffs, as the U.S. threatened to impose duties of up to 80% on Mexican sugar if an agreement could not be reached. The U.S. government was concerned about Mexican sugar being unfairly sold below cost across the border, a practice reportedly aided by improper Mexican government subsidies. Kendall Bush, Mitchell Valley farmer and president of the Nebraska Non-Stock Beet Growers Association, applauded the deal, according to the Scottsbluff Star-Herald. He praised Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross and Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue for helping arrange the deal. "We appreciate the work that Secretaries Ross and Perdue put into getting this settled," Bush said. "They had a lot to consider. It wasn't just sugar producers. There were other pressures from sugar users and producers like candy and beverages. Not to mention the momentum the agreement provided ahead of NAFTA negotiations in August, negotiations that conservative political experts predicted would not go well if the sugar deal failed." Daniel Pearson, a senior fellow at the conservative think tank Cato Institute and a former chairman of the U.S. International Trade Commission, said the NAFTA conversation would have been more difficult if the sugar talks had melted down. "The fact that an agreement could be reached on a sensitive topic like sugar bodes well for dealing with sensitive talks in NAFTA," he said. "Do you think this sugar deal is good or bad for American workers? Like and share this article on Facebook and Twitter, and let us know. What do you think about this new sugar trade deal? Scroll down to comment below. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe 24 Hours channel. Goodbye and see you again.